When do you tell your children you're ending your marriage? My name is Paul Friedman. I founded the Marriage Foundation, so obviously I am an advocate for you keeping your marriage together. Sometimes things have gotten so far out of hand that there is nothing that you can do to keep your marriage together, and I want to get into that a little bit. But first, I'm going to give you some practical suggestions. If your children are little and they really are not aware of what's going on, just keep putting it off. Daddy's away, mommy's away. It doesn't do any good. Some people have this notion of, oh, you got to tell your kids the truth. They can face reality. No, they cannot face that reality. No matter when you tell them, how you tell them, their world is going to come crashing in on them. Children are innocents who do not have the capacity to deal with what we consider to be real life stuff. And we have to be aware of their needs. When we signed up to have children, when we agreed to receive this soul into our family, you took on a huge responsibility. You took on a responsibility to create an environment for your children that is, number one, safe, dotted line across, loving, supportive, where they can develop without burdens. Now, I grew up a long time ago where there were a lot of people who I went to school with and who I knew who were poor. We were poor. None of us knew we were poor because our parents didn't tell us. How would we know? So the environment that we grew up in was safe. Sure, there were things we couldn't have that we saw on TV that other kids did have, but we were just told, no, you can't have a horse. We're not going there on vacation, maybe someday. The point is, your children are in this environment of a husband and wife raising them in love so that they could develop themselves without fears, without considering alternatives to this or that. Now, they'll adjust. People even adjust to concentration camp. But it's a heavy burden to watch your mother and father separate. It's scary. It's unknown. It's facing an abyss. So letting your children know should be put off as long as possible, if you have to. But there's an alternative. Don't forget why you got married in the first place. You got married to be happier. You got married to live in a loving environment with your soulmate. What happened? Remember, soulmate. What does that mean? It means you're a soul. Your spouse is another soul. A soul is an infinite being, not a material being. There are no limitations for a soul. Souls don't come and go. Yeah, our bodies come and go. Our mind is a tool to function within the environment. And what happens as a soul, we become caught. Now, this isn't a religious lecture. But you are a soul. It's just factual. And when you inhabit a body, you're taking on the ability to enjoy this creation. But we get scared because the body is an animal body, and its primary thrust is survival. And it pushes the mind into survival mode. And that's probably why your marriage got screwed up. Because instead of behaving like soulmates, you started taking each other for granted, right? You started mistreating each other. And don't say, oh no, it wasn't me, it was him or her. No, both of you gave in to the limitations of the ego rather than living in the higher state of love, which is the soul's domain. So your marriage started to erode. And now you're looking at a divorce. And you're asking, when should we tell the kids? And I'm telling you right now, stop. Don't do that. Now, I have the credentials for this. I used to be a divorce mediator. I was the one who helped couples decide how often one would see the child or children, the circumstances around it, and all that. And then I got wise. And I started to save marriages instead. And I spoke at support groups, Second Saturday, for instance, where I help people pull back, take a look, what's really going on. And most of the people I worked with had already gone through the whole marriage counseling thing, which doesn't work because it doesn't address marriage. You don't even know what you're leaving. You're only thinking, no, I'm leaving hell. I'm getting out of this total frustration, but you don't know what to do. You know what it's like? It would be like if you got behind the wheel of an airplane without having any lessons to fly. And you kind of knew. You pull back on the stick to go up, push down to go down, but that's it. You die. And that's what happened. You didn't know how to be married. Let's start with that. You knew what you wanted out of marriage. You wanted happiness. You wanted connection. You wanted love, unconditional love. But you didn't give it. No, no one does until they start learning about marriage. I'm trying to impress upon you the idea that your marriage is not necessarily over. It can be saved, more than saved. It can be turned around. Because even though you're in the plane and it's shaking like hell, if you start to learn how to fly that plane, it'll be okay. You'll get through the storms. You'll enjoy it. You'll appreciate it. You'll have what you sought. And that's what you should have in marriage. You should have what you sought. Happiness. Ever-increasing happiness. Day by day, where the happiness gets more and more. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you know what you're doing in marriage, and don't say, okay, I'll read your book for next time. No, it isn't too late for your current marriage. It's not too late. Your past is behind you. The mistakes you made were made. But the future, you control your destiny by your actions, by your behavior, by your thinking. What's needed now is for you to get a grasp on the reality of what marriage is all about. Start understanding what you didn't do, what you can now do, and how that's going to impact your future. Save your children from a divorce. Don't tell them you're going to get a divorce. Tell them you love them. And mommy and daddy will never part because we know how much you need mommy and daddy. And we're going to be with you forever. We love you. And then learn about marriage and learn how to make it a hive of happiness. Give up the frustration. Give up the anger. Give up the self-pity. If you're in an affair, give up the affair. You know how hard it is to start again? Oh my God. You know, people get a divorce now like it's nothing. They're fed this total BS about restarting your life and this time you'll do it better. How are you going to do it better? What did you learn? Did you learn about marriage from an expert like myself? Do you now know what it takes? If you do, why not apply it now? It's crazy to end a marriage because it's just going to cause not only for your children, but for you and your spouse, you're going to go through hell. They don't tell you that, but it's true. It's rough getting a divorce. It's not easy peasy lemon squeezy. It's really rough on everybody. The turmoil is unbelievable. It's unimaginable. It is 1 billion times easier to swallow your pride, learn about marriage, admit, I got married and I didn't know what I was doing. Learn about marriage and turn it around. You want proof that you didn't know what you were doing? Okay, I'll give you easy to digest proof. If you buy a dress or a pair of pants, we're talking simple here now, right? You're acquiring a possession. You automatically know the maintenance that is required. They need dry cleaning or they need washing, but they need something. You don't just wear it forever, right? Maintenance. What do you ever acquire in your life that doesn't require maintenance? Everything does. Everything. Well, what was the maintenance required for your marriage? You knew what it was for clothing. You know what it is for a car, for an apartment. Automatically. You don't even have to think about it. But if you get a dog or a cat, you learn about it. Oh, wow. How do you take care of the animal? Even a bird, a little parakeet sitting in a cage, requires maintenance. You gotta get educated or it's gonna die. Did you get educated before you got married? No, obviously not, or your marriage would now be fine. I'm here to tell you, you can still save your marriage. It can still be fine. And what is fine in a marriage? You got married to be happier. You got married to enjoy the most precious of all things, unconditional love. Unconditional love. Again, not religion, but spiritual. Heck yeah. Unconditional love, what is more spiritual than love? You can't touch it, but you can feel it. And when you do, it's beyond any other experience. And you got married so that you could have that experience for the rest of your life. Don't give up now. You're failing because you didn't know what to do. Now you could learn what to do. And you should. Go for it. Don't give up now. Okay, that's enough. I know it's enough because my throat's starting to hurt. Look, go through more of the videos. Subscribe. Learn about marriage this way. Read one of my books. Read some of my articles. start to see, start to pull the curtain back about what marriage really is. Because the common knowledge out there about marriage sucks. People have no idea. Truly. First of all, no one recognizes that it's a spiritual path. But it is. You're in it for unconditional love, which brings unbelievable happiness. Who's ever told you that? Why don't you know that? But it makes total sense now, right? If I asked you why you got married, you'd give me some mundane responses like, well, I wanted to be with my soulmate. I fell in love with her. I fell in love with him. No, you got married to be happier. It's so simple. What did you want out of it? Oh, well, I wanted a family. I wanted to be happy, being together. Much deeper. You wanted unconditional love. You can still have it. All right, I'm going to let you go. Blessings to you, blessings to your spouse, blessings to your children. Thank you for spending time with me. If you need to write into one of our counselors who are not like marriage counselors, they're very familiar with the philosophies and the principles that I have found that work for marriage. You can write in. It's a free service. But please take advantage of us. You will be so glad you did. God bless. Take care.